Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody can hear me fine. I am Matt Allen. This is Thursday Evening Live. Kudos. Welcome. Thank you for turning up. It's a pleasure to have you here. I can see in the waiting area there is Keith and Nancy. Lovely to see you both along. Can you give me a nod if you can hear me well? Yep, wonderful. So you will notice that there is only me here this evening. Once again, my apologies. I seem to have messed up. Unfortunately, first of all, Clifford sends his apologies and his well wishes. He is actually on his anniversary with his wife. Hopefully with his wife. If he's not, then he's going to be in serious trouble. But I believe he is. And he just wanted to say hello to everybody. He'll hopefully be back next week. And then my apologies because I messed up. Unfortunately, with all of the timing and all of the things that have been going on in my life at the moment, the changing the clocks in the UK, I managed to mess up and book this for 12 o'clock, and we are supposed to be live at 11, and here we are at 11, and unfortunately that means that other people, namely Jason, are busy doing some work, and I booked things wrong. So that's entirely on my head. Unfortunately, you got to put up with me for a little bit, but don't worry, we've got a couple of people in the back room. We'll introduce them soon enough. I'll get through the things that I need to tell you about. We'll have a little quick chat about a topic, not necessarily what we were going to cover this week rather, but we will cover that next week when Jason will be back and hopefully Clifford as well. Obviously, if he's not on his anniversary with his wife, he might not be back, but hopefully he will be here. Hopefully he is on his anniversary dinner with his wife. So this evening, first of all, welcome. I'll tell you a little bit about me, just in case you don't know who I am. If you don't know who I am, I don't really know why you're here, because that would be a little bit strange. But I am Matt. I am the founder of Kudos. Kudos is a thing that we are not permitted to talk about unless I talk to you direct in the sense of a Zoom chat to explain to you what it is all about. When you have that chat with me, you'll understand a little bit about why I'm not willing to just tell anybody and everybody about it just yet. The good news is that it's coming soon. The good news is that it's going to benefit us all. And the good news is that I'm going to make that happen. So let's get on with some of the news items for this evening. First of all, we have a message from the lovely May Raju. She can't be with us this evening. She wanted to let us know that on last week, I mentioned her and somebody else. One of her friends of her family, called Derek, was in hospital and had some heart surgery. We asked for people to pray and wish them well and believe in positivity for good outcome for Derek. Derek is now back at home, is the wonderful news. May wanted us all to know that. She messaged me earlier and I messaged her back. And she just wanted to really share that with everybody, tell everybody some great news for some wonderful miracle news. I'm not saying that it's a miracle that we've helped to happen. I'm more sure that that's the doctors and the will of God. But the simple fact of the matter is that if we believe in things and we help and we support each other, we really can make miracles happen. So that's May. Another good friend of mine, a lady that I'm sure many of you are familiar with, is Lydia. Lydia has asked me to give something free to people. It doesn't happen very often in this world of ours. She is a composer, amongst other amazing things that she does. And she has created some music that she wanted us to be able to access for free. If I can put it in the comments, would be useful. So she has provided this link for LinkedIn. You can access that. You can see all of the information that's there. And I'll just put that up on the screen. It's relaxing and therapeutic music. I've listened to Lydia and some of her relaxing things, and they certainly help me relax. And I'm not a very relaxed person. It takes a lot for me to calm down and be feeling just relaxed and nice. But I listened to her on a positivity audio room that's run by a dear friend of mine, Zion, another dear friend of mine, Simona, and Annie, amongst some other people. And she was doing a chill out session, a relaxation session there. I'm sure some of this music comes into that in different ways. Take a listen. Find out for yourself whether it's something that you would benefit from. If you're in pain, if you're suffering from pain, you know somebody who does suffer from pain, what I would strongly suggest is that you have a chat with Lydia. Hopefully she'll be on the show later on, but she has lived through some things and managed to heal herself from pain, and she helps people to overcome pain in their lives. I would strongly recommend, even if you just want to listen to her story, it is absolutely amazing and inspiring. So I would recommend strongly that you have a chat with her. So, like I say, the subject for this evening was going to be focus. And what really is the idea behind that was to have a talk about whether businesses should be focused on niching or whether they should be focusing on the wider aspect of their business, trying to hunt down as many customers as possible, and then from there focus on what those customers want rather than what they provide in their message of what they want to give. Unfortunately, we're not going to cover that this evening because, like I say, that's a conversation that I was going to have with Jason. So we'll leave that until next week when Jason's here. Instead, I'm going to cover something that's a little bit relevant to Kudos. It's a little bit relevant to us all. And it's something that Jason and I were talking about earlier in the week. That is about a Netflix episode, a documentary on Netflix, which is called The Social Dilemma. Now, The Social Dilemma is a documentary that was filmed and contained some of C-suite members, executive board members, senior managers from different organizations such as Google, Facebook, Pinterest, and some others. And it really is quite an interesting subject in that it talks about why it is that these people think that Facebook and Google and whatnot are particularly good in terms of what they deliver to people, what they take from people, and what they exchange for that. So, of course, Kudos is a little bit related to this. And I have to be careful what I say because I have to stick to my own rules. Rule number one is don't tell anybody what Kudos is. Rule number two is to tell everybody how wonderful it is. Well, let's deal with some of the elephants in the room. So I'm allowed to say that Kudos is about data and advertising. That's all that I'll say about that. Google and Facebook, obviously, they provide services, and those services are paid for by advertisers. Debatable what services they offer and the value of those, but that comes down to individual choice and individual selection of what you want to benefit from them. Now, this program is particularly interesting because these people who used to work for these big businesses talk about what the difficulty is with them, which is primarily that they have this wonderful aptitude for being able to deliver these services, which can benefit people. And it's been proven that in many ways they do help people, ranging from just making our tasks much easier with some automation and access to emails and searching on the internet and being able to link with our family and friends and helping all sorts of people with difficulties all across the world in terms of some of what the good side of Facebook does. And then there are some other difficulties that relate to the data manipulation and things like Cambridge Analytica in the sense of Facebook. The recent admission from Mark Zuckerberg that he's been involved in some of the three-letter agencies from the USA in terms of the information that's put out on his his platform and is controlled on his platform. And then, of course, the big thing that a lot of people are concerned about is their own data security, their own privacy. And a lot of these organizations, they make their money from people's data. And it's well documented that sometimes they access this data without necessarily asking people's permission. Or if they do, then they're controlled by their terms and conditions, which not many people understand. And even if they do understand, they feel a bit obliged to just tick the ticky box that says, yes, I agree, because it takes forever to read all of those terms and conditions. And even if you read them, you still need the service that they provide to some degree, because in many respects, there's no alternatives. So they sort of have customers over a barrel. And what's happened is that they've taken their business model, and as much as originally they may well have set out to provide a service and be all about doing good, sadly, a lot of people look at those things now and see the revenue that they generate and the control that they have over that data and the influence that that has over people's lives, and even down to manipulation, or some people would say maybe even digital slavery, in the sense of they take what we generate, our data, they take the money that we earn from the toils from our work, and they use that to make giant profit from our sweat, our selves, our uniqueness, our data. And as much as that is a business function to make profit, it's about what you do with that profit. And unfortunately, they just seem to take more and more and more. So these people are C-suite members and executives from different boards and senior management, like I say. And the program really alludes to the fact that all of these people have left Google and Facebook and whatnot because they wanted to do something different when they originally set out. They wanted to help people. They wanted to enable people. They wanted to see some good and some benefit from the work that they were doing. And they felt that that was no longer being delivered, and instead it was just purely about the money and the control. At the very end, everybody's familiar with my catchphrase, "You are the miracle." One of the statements that one of them makes is that we need a miracle. It's a very interesting program. I would highly recommend watching it. It's very entertaining. It's about an hour and a half long. Jason and I have had a little chat about it, but we want to catch up again and have a chat about it as well. I mentioned it to a few people last week from this week, actually, Monday night positivity group that I do. I asked them to have a watch of that and see what they think and get back to me. So I don't know, maybe those people will turn up this evening. It's possibly a little bit late for some of them because some of them are from the UK. Not everybody's stupid enough as me to stay up until 11, 12 o'clock at night to do these things. But a lot of the people that I talk to are over in America. Hopefully some of you are. Hopefully you're not all from the UK and listening at 11 at night to me jabbering on about this, that, and the other. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. I don't want to get too much into it. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that Kudos is an example of what I call a social benefit network. And social benefit networks are really about everybody in the social community benefiting in some way, shape, or form from what they are involved in. And it's what I try and live my life by, is to bring some value to people, bring some support to people, gives people some benefit from whatever it is that I do. At the moment, there's not a lot of money in that, but there are some other things that are in it. So I have quite a lot of friends that I have made on LinkedIn. I came here originally to just find business people to give me support and help into my business strategy. And I've ended up making a lot of friends, and real genuine friends who believe in me and what I do. And we talk on a regular basis. We exchange comments in all of the posts that we share. And we have a real strong affinity about the things that Kudos and I are trying to do and how that affects people's lives and what we can contribute to each other and support each other. So that just brings me to Kudos Core, which is a group of these friends, and a number of people are in Kudos Core already. If you're not in Kudos Core, if you go to my LinkedIn profile, you'll see one of my pages there is called Kudos Core. You can follow that. But the reason why I mention this is because for about 3 or 4 weeks now, my webpage has been down because I've been having some work done to that. That is almost finished. I've made it live as of today. It's not fully functional. It's not Kudos as in the platform as yet. It's just an informational and membership page for people to join Kudos Core there as well. So it's where I'll be making most of my announcements, and then those announcements will then get pushed onto LinkedIn. I also mentioned about social benefit networks and the fact that I like to benefit other people. If you visit the website, you will see that there is a page where there are supporters listed. Those are a number of organizations that already are on board and helping and supporting in different ways. People like Clifford and Jason and Zion, all of my friends and many other people. And those organizations, they have their logos on that section for supporters. If you want to have your logo in there, by all means, email me or send me a message on LinkedIn. I'd be quite happy to put you there. It's not chargeable. It's entirely free. If you want to have a chat with me beforehand, because you've not had a chat with me, that is something I am always encouraging. I always like to have a chat with people because I like to find out about you, what you do, and then share a little bit more about what Kudos actually is, and also tell them a little bit more about social benefit networks and the bigger thing. So what is this website? It is simply www.kudosuk.co.uk. And if you head there, you'll see an email address. I've managed to secure that as miracles@kudosuk.co.uk. Or if you go through LinkedIn, like I say, you can drop me a message, drop me a logo. If you don't have a logo because you work for somebody else or you just don't have a logo, then by all means, drop me a picture of yourself. I would also like if some of my friends that are listening, if you would want to give some sort of, I don't know, like short sentence to say what you believe about Kudos without telling everybody what Kudos is, but just to say what you think about it, what you believe about the future with it, how you feel, what you like about it, what you like about me, just as a little way to say, this is something that we approve of, this is something that we like, this is something that I stand behind. Whatever you want to say, I'm trying not to tell you what to say. So I'll put that in the comments. I'll also be making a post about that tomorrow and tagging in a number of people like I usually do. So without a moment's more hesitation, I'm going to invite some people into the room because I'm sure everybody's had enough of listening to me waffle on about nonsense. So who joined first? I think it was Keith. I'm sure many people know Keith. Keith and I have a chat booked for, I believe, on Saturday, but my diary is pretty busy. So let me introduce Keith. Keith Weidman, here we go. Good evening, Keith. How are you doing?
Hey, thanks, Matt. Great to be here.
Is that your voice?
That's my dogs in the background.
Oh, wonderful. What sort of dogs have you got?
I think my wife is getting home. That's why they're excited. They'll calm down in a minute.
Okay. Are you excited about your wife getting home as well?
I am. I'm just not barking at the door.
Yeah, good man. Do you want to tell people, Keith, who you are and what you do? Or?
My name is Keith Weidman. I'm principal of Level 3 by Design, and I'm just in the process of healing. So I used to focus on helping leaders be benevolent leaders like you, just like you. And when a leader is a benevolent leader, they can elevate engagement, creativity, and performance in people they lead and themselves simply by having and expressing thoughts that evoke positive emotions in people they lead. For example, one thing they can do is give sincere positive feedback to people they lead. And when they do that, they can evoke thoughts, and those thoughts create joy and gratitude within people they lead. And by doing this, they strengthen the relationship.
Yeah. That's really cool. So we've exchanged a couple of messages that's
Right.
sort of the extent of where we're at the moment, but they've been very very insightful and very to the point, because I think we both sort of don't mess about. We get to the point and we tell the things that matter and address the things that matter, because they're the things that matter. I'm a very strong believer in leadership is not leading from the front, it's leading from within people. Leading is not achieved by being out there at the front and being the front man and telling everybody what to do. It's about, just like everything else, listening to the people who are important, which is your team in the sense of a leader, and then trying to get the best out of them and supporting them and celebrating the things that they achieve and trying to inspire from within, taking what they are as people, what they are as their own, again, miracles, and trying to influence that into building your organization, whatever that may be, whether it's a business or a school or whatever that is. What were you doing before, Keith?
I was doing this work before, but I just realized, so I'm healing from Parkinson's disease, and I'm in the process of healing. So I didn't believe quantum physics was relevant to my life. For the first 69 years, I ignored quantum physics, and now I understand that we're energy beings, and we look at us as energy beings. It's all about emotions. It's all about evoking, well, generating positive emotions within yourself, but also evoking positive energy from emotions within people you lead. When you do that, you can bring something out of people that they didn't realize they had, and you can bring something out of yourself by doing that too.
Yeah. Energy is a very important thing for me. Some people know some of my history, but 5 or 6 years ago, I would spend maybe 20, 24 hours a day in bed with no energy, no ability to do anything. And really, some of that was down to my own attitude. Some of that was sort of I'd given up, and some of that was down to medication that I was taking and things. And I'm not saying don't take medication. I'm just saying that in that particular circumstance, that wasn't doing me any good. So I think energy is something, once that you have it, you appreciate it fully, and you understand the difference between having no energy and even having just a little. And sort of going back to leadership, just leading yourself to get to a point where you have more energy, because you realize the energy is the important thing, focusing on that and bringing yourself about, because you've realized, if I use my energy, if I try and do a little bit more, and I'm happy because I'm doing a bit more, sometimes it takes a bit out of you, but that's like everything. The more that you put in, the more that you get out. And that's the great thing about energy, is the more that you put in, the more that you get out. You think that's true?
Yeah. And if you put out positive thoughts that evoke positive emotions, you can generate joy from doing that. I know from experience, and that's positive energy. So it's possible. There's a book written by Brendan Burchard called High Performance Habits, and he says high performers intentionally generate gratitude and joy. It's their secret sauce to achieving and sustaining high performance. I believe you and I can sustain high performance. In fact, so far, by being a guest on your show and visiting your show a couple of times, I believe you do this already.
Okay, thank you. It doesn't matter about what I do. Really, the point of this, did you come on Monday? Were you there on Monday?
I was.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a very different show, mainly because this is geared more towards business. And Monday nights, if people haven't been, is a lot more celebration about positivity and trying to enthuse the people about how they can enjoy life and at the same time appreciate life and at the same time appreciate what we do have rather than what we don't have. And building on that energy and feeling happy and the energy that even just smiling together, enjoying being friends with each other. Quite often people talk about LinkedIn when I first get to know them about a place to do business. I'm quite new to LinkedIn.
Right.
I tend to relate to people quite a lot. I tend to ask people a lot of questions and find out about them, find out what's important to them, because that's what's important to me about them is what makes them tick rather than just what it says on their bio, because that's not really them. That's just what their job is or things that they try and achieve. What's them is what makes them tick on a day-to-day basis, what makes them smile when they get up in the mornings, what makes them go to bed and think, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. So yeah, I appreciate that, Keith. You are a star. And to be honest, I have been told for a long time by a number of people. I mentioned Lydia. I remember Lydia specifically saying in one of her comments that I should speak to you and have a good chat with you.
She told me the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm glad she's right.
She is about you. I don't know about me. We'll see about that. It is Saturday that we're talking, isn't it?
I think Sunday. Right. I think Sunday.
Oh, Sunday is it? Okay.
I think so. You schedule it.
If you turn up and I'm not there, I'm in trouble. So I'll make sure that I'm there.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'm going to keep you in the room. What I do is I generally just keep people in the room and then I'll join somebody else in and then, well, you've been around. Yeah. So the next person along, Nancy, are you there or are you, because I know you were driving. You are there. Okay.
Can you hear
me? Hello,
me?
Nancy. Yeah, I can hear you fine. Hello. How are you doing?
I'm good. I was having such a hard time today. I was just chasing you all over the place. I was thinking, what's going on with this time? And I'm in Canada. And so I don't know what time it is there, but it's 4:30 here right now. And
it's
let me tell you,
11:30 at night.
I'm joining a lot of platforms on different places and people, you know, where you are, of course, you know what time it is, but I'm really learning because some of them, everybody's like all over the world, you know. It's really cool. So I haven't been able to get on a lot. I'm hiding in my car right now because my house is full of kids. And if I was in there, I wouldn't be able to get much done. So, I've been looking forward to jumping on. And, so anyways,
so
I kind of got stuff there.
You and I have been exchanging messages for a little while now because you are an incredibly busy lady at different points, aren't you? I think that's fair to say.
I'm actually on, I think I have like 7 platforms and I'm really working hard. I was actually looking up some stuff on podcasts today, and that's why I like joining different lives. This one's actually different than a lot of the ones that I've been on. And what I like about yours is like you get to see the people that are speaking and conversing. But I'll tell you something, I don't really know how to work I don't really know how to work like the comments on here and stuff yet. I got to practice, you know?
Sure.
And go ahead.
So the comments for me, like I can see that there's comments coming up, but I'm partially sighted, especially in my right eye, and I can't figure out how to get the comments over on the left so I could even see what they're doing. So I quite often sort of say, if you put comments in there, I can't see them. I'm sure there's some nice things being said. I'm sure there's some people who've turned up and said, hi, Matt. I don't know, to be honest. And if my very first live, I don't know whether you saw that, but my very first live, I didn't actually go live for the first 15 minutes because the go live button is up in the top right-hand corner where I can't see it. And I thought that just when the time happened, it went live. So Clifford was on, Clifford was speaking, I was speaking, we both introduced ourselves. And then as Clifford was talking a bit more, my eyes were, because if I look, I can see, because I can see tunnel vision really. I looked over and I just saw this go live button and I thought, oh, that's going to be a problem. But we got there in the end.
It's great. It's really good. And like I said, I'm learning, and with you, like this making connections and all those things. Like I always see, I'm not always here, but boys, I see the comments, and you've been mentioned in a comment and stuff like that. And that's really good that you're doing that, because it makes me smile. And I'm sure that other people, excuse me, that are watching, you know, when their name comes up, I'm sure they're smiling too. So it's something, the other gentleman, I've forgotten your name and I'm sorry, but that positive kind of go around thing, what you give out, I think is what comes back to you. And anytime I've ever seen you, like, or heard you speaking or in a post, you're being positive and you're giving off that positive energy and that laughter, and people really they feed off of that in a good way. You know, you're giving that energy out, and I'm happy. I was just upset I couldn't seem to get here on the right time.
Oh, you got here in the end, Nancy. That's what matters.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell anybody a little bit about what you are involved with, or?
Yeah, so I'm in northern Alberta, Canada, and I've been in education for 25 years, and I'm now put my name in to run as a candidate for an MLA. So I'm taking a huge kind of shift in my career, and it's basically I want to help the people on the First Nations. During COVID and all these things, some really bad things happened, and I got to witness, you know, and be a part of some things firsthand. So I am making that choice, and all this joining these live podcasts, and I think it's awesome. Linked, one thing I have to say about it is I have made so many connections, like it's unbelievable, the connections and where people are. And I'll tell you, on even my other platforms, a lot of people from like India and, you know, things like that. I get snaps, I get to see other cultures, and every time I get on these lives, then I make more connections. And I really want to be a voice for the Indian people, Indigenous people in this country, and anybody else, you know, that is not getting a voice. And these lives are a really good way to reach out and start making even more connections, you know. It's really awesome.
Yeah. I find that comments are wonderful because you get to express yourself, and people can read them, and they're there for everybody to see. I mean, you can delete them in some ways, but the point is that this is a bit more different. This is a bit more special in the sense that you get to, like you say, see people, and then you get to have a conversation with people live, and you can see the expression on their faces. You can see the smiles. If you look back up Monday and the laughter and the enjoyment and the love that goes on between people. And that's what I think life should be about, is about enjoying each other. It's not a yardstick competition to see who's the biggest CEO on LinkedIn. It's about finding people that you relate to, that you can be friends with, that you can have a relationship with, and that you can build a relationship for other people with. I'm forever connecting people because I think people need to know each other. Like, the more people that you know, you'll find more friends, you'll find people that you've got things in common with. And I tend to find that most people have at least something in common, because although we're all unique, we're all people, and we all smile and we all laugh, and usually at pretty similar things. Okay, I'm a little bit strange. I laugh about some things that probably other people don't, but that's the point. We're all unique, but we're all the same. Yeah. I think that's also very relevant to what you do with the Indigenous people, in the sense that they're people too. why should they be treated any differently to anybody else? That everybody needs to be loved and cared for, and needs somebody else to love and to care for too. So yeah.
And that was, sorry about that. I was thinking something you mentioned earlier about these platforms where people they're kind of being censored now, like,
Yeah.
and that's one thing that I find with these lives and things like this. There's, other countries have certain restrictions and things like that. And in our country, like, a lot of people say, oh, Canada seems so nice. But really, there's a lot of hidden things in Canada. And people like myself, I have others that they're standing up, there's in some countries, it's the farmers, and here we have the truckers, and I know there's a lot of things coming because the government really is supposed to be supporting the people and working for the people, right? And they've lost sight of that for a long time, and that's happening rapid in every country, I believe, and it needs to be addressed,
Yeah. So again, I can't tell you what Kudos is. You and I haven't had a chance to have a chat. Like we've come close to it a couple of times, I think, but we didn't actually meet because different things cropped up. Kudos is a little bit different. Kudos is not just a sticky plaster for a local problem. It's not just me giving some coaching to some people. Those are valuable things, and without them, very many things would stop working and there would be severe problems in the world today. But Kudos and social benefit networks is a little bit bigger. It's about making a real difference on a wide scale, about big change for everybody, not just a local thing that really comes down to funding quite often. And sometimes let's call them the authorities, restrict that funding for people or for groups of people. Kudos has a benefit to it, to the fact that it gives quite a substantial amount of money to good causes. And the benefit to that is that really I'm in control of that, not them. So that will go to the things that need it rather than the things that tick the right boxes. But anyway, we're getting to the point now where I can't say much more about that because it's top secret. Let's introduce somebody else. And who should we have? Amber.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, this is a different time for you. I was not, when I saw your thing for 6 o'clock, I was kind of like, I thought it was usually at 7. Well, my time anyway. So yeah. I could tell you were on a different, and so when you started saying that everybody couldn't get to you, I figured that must be the different time.
Yeah, that's my bad entirely. It's been a hectic couple of days. I've been down to London. There was a fire brigade truck at one time at the apartments because there was fire alarms going off left, right, and center. So I was locked out the apartment for 2 hours. It's just been an almighty mess. Then last night I traveled back on the bus for 7, 8 hours. Finally got home this morning. I've not been to bed yet. So yeah, it's kind of been a busy day.
Sounds like it.
I messed up. Yeah. Hey. So how are you? We've not talked for
I launched my first audio event tonight.
Oh, you did?
Oh, well, I am. For you, it's going to be another hour and a half. Yeah, I'm doing it at 8:30 my time, and it's about 2 hours from now is when I'm doing it. But
make that. My apologies.
Yeah, I did figure. Well, I did it later because your show was at 7 originally. Like I thought your show was at 7 in my calendar. I kind of have it set every week for 7 o'clock. And then I had another one that was supposed to be at 9, or is usually at 9 o'clock. And it was scheduled for 7. So I wasn't going to be able to go do your show. And then, so I scheduled my event last night, 8:30 tonight. So it was going to be a half hour after my last event ended. So it didn't conflict with anybody. I get up this morning. Yours is now 6 o'clock instead of 7 o'clock for me. My 9 o'clock is now, or my 7 o'clock is now 9 o'clock. So it's now going to be in the middle of when I'm doing my audio event. So I can only go to half of that. Like as soon as I leave my audio event, I have to jump into this other event I said I was going to be at like 2 weeks ago, but it was a different, like they literally changed it this morning. So everything today has been like, no, but I'm still doing my event. I will still be there.
Good. What's it going to be about? What's your topic?
It about trans kids, having trans kids and supporting them. And honestly, I'm a parent of a transgender son, and that conversation is Transgender Visibility Week here in the U.S. And that we've got a lot of politicians who are attacking the kids, trying to create legislation that will keep them from getting access, from getting care. And so tonight is about, I know several people who are also parents of transgender children. So we're bringing that conversation out and just going to have a sit down. I have a doctor who also has a trans child, but is also a pediatrician in Texas who fights for trans rights. So she's coming on as well. So we have, surprisingly, for a last minute kind of thing I threw together, everybody said yes. So it was awesome.
There you go.
Yay.
Sorry, Nancy, you had your hand up for a second?
Yes, because remember this time thing, it's very difficult when you're in these different time zones. So right now we're at 4:43 and you're saying it's in 2 hours. So what would that be, like 7 o'clock?
Yeah, that'll be for you probably 7 o'clock. For me, it'll be 9 o'clock. Well, 8:30 is when mine starts.
Look, for me,
Nancy,
okay, because I'm going to get really confused on the time.
Look, go to my page and go to my event. And when you click on it, it should tell you, the event should tell you what time it is for your time zone. Like Matt's, when I click on Matt's event, it tells me what time it is in my time zone so that I know what time to show up. So go click on the event to get the time.
I was just giving him heck today there because I didn't know what was going on. I was like, but I can't get in. I couldn't figure it out. It was awful.
Oops. Sometimes it's last minute.
Yeah. And just to confuse you more, next week we're going back to 7 because for the fellas over in America, it's much easier for them because it's after work day, really.
It is.
So, yeah. Like, it makes no difference to me. 11, 12 o'clock is late. It's past my bedtime. So, yeah.
Till 3, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, every morning anyway. So for me, late is just like I get on calls with Bally and they'll be like, where are you calling from? Or where are you coming in from? And I'm like, North Carolina, the US. And they're like, why are you still awake? And it's because they're talking about like a healthcare symposium about Eastern medicine. And that's the only time I'm going to catch that is to be up when they're up. So yeah, I try to fix my schedule so that I'm awake when I need to be.
Yeah. What time is it with you, Keith?
I'm the same time zone as North Carolina. Eastern. It's 6:45 p.m.
Yep.
Can I ask what your wife does? Because that seems like a very strange time to come home.
She's retired. She's babysitting for our grandson today.
Oh, okay. That explains. Because most people, for most people, 6:30 is a strange time to get home, unless you've got a long trip to come home. But yeah, that makes sense. If she's looking after children, their parents come home, and then she's off home after she's finished her day looking after the kids.
And she had to drive an hour and 15 minutes home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's quite some distance, really.
It is. But it's relatively close.
Relatively close. In England, if you live further than an hour away, you're in the middle of nowhere, really.
For our grandson, it's close enough.
There you go.
Okay, let's bring somebody else on. I am going to introduce this man as a guest show host. I don't know if anybody else knows him because when I met him, I looked at who we had in common. I met him through Jason. I'm very interested to meet this fella because I've seen a couple of his game shows and I love what he does. So everybody say hello to Omar.
Hey
Hi, Omar.
everybody, how you doing,
Hi.
guys? Matt, Alan, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Nice to meet you.
Ab-
Finally, how are you doing?
ab- Absolutely, I'm doing great. I'm in Arizona. It's kind of cold here. It's about, I think, in the 50s, and for you, I think it's about 10 Celsius or a
Yeah,
little bit less. But it's nice.
sure.
How about you guys? How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Are you guys
Great.
doing all right?
Awesome, awesome.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm
I'm
glad
okay.
you
Unfortunately,
enjoyed my program. I do similar to like a trivia show like Jeopardy. I call it Zoom Party, and
yeah,
I'm having a lot of fun with it. I've been doing it for 3 years now, and I've been uploading about 6 episodes this year so far.
yeah. And you do them with kids as well, don't you? Mostly it's adults, is that right? And then like occasionally it's with children, is that right? Or
Yeah, every season, every year I do kids. It depends whoever signs up, and usually it's adults,
yeah.
age 18 and up. And yeah, every spring I usually do the kids week, and it's a lot of fun. This year I had 12 kids who signed up. Uh,
Wow.
Yeah,
But that's very different to your day job, isn't it? What do you do as a day job?
correct. Yes, I'm a technical support specialist and a trainer as well. So with the company T-Tag, I'm training people as well as sometimes take calls with a healthcare company. Plus, I also tutor as well. So I'm tutoring students from around the world, all over, and it's fun. Math, engineering related. My background's in engineering, so I have a civil engineering degree from Arizona State. So,
Oh wow.
so it's, I have to do a lot of things. I've taught for a while. I did engineering. I now work remotely, plus do this game show thing. So it's fun. I enjoy it, and was on Don Cohen show the other day, and he encouraged me to do a podcast and LinkedIn Live. I did one. I'm doing another one in a week or so with a guy from Nigeria. So I meet a lot of nice people here. So
To be fair, there's nothing but nice people.
yeah,
Everybody always says, I only meet nice people. And then you realize that really most people, okay, there's a few cretins that we come across on LinkedIn, but generally speaking, they're not all me. I mean, they're all very nice.
a funny thing. I connected with somebody immediately. He said to me today. He sent me his resume. Find me a job as if I'm an executive or something. Right away, he sent me his resume, thinking, "Okay, I need a job. I haven't worked for like 3 years. I couldn't find a job." Which
Yeah.
it's fun,
I mean, that's part of the problem with the economy at the moment, I guess, is that people are starting to get a little bit desperate. And I always have time for them to be able to say, look, I'm not recruiting, but if I come across somebody, then I will try and connect you. It's not always the case because not everybody's looking in the common sense at the moment. But you never know. Like if you connect to people, you want to talk to them, you want to share what you can share. I've never met anybody particularly bad. I've heard a few stories from different people about they've come across people who are not really that genuine and whatnot. But my experience with everybody that I've met, especially you guys, is just that the LinkedIn is filled with phenomenal people, and all that you need to do is take the opportunity to reach out and speak and talk with them, invite them on a show, get them to go on your game show, Omar, or wherever they want. Hint, I'd like to be on it.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. As soon as I do it in the fall, I'll do the. I'm actually taping some college ones, so if anybody's a college student, let me know. But the adults this fall, season 4, you're going to be on it with some other LinkedIn. Actually, I'm not sure if you know of Jamie Edwards. He's been trying. We're trying to get a couple on there. Him and
Yeah.
him and his partner are ready to go, and I'm looking for another couple, maybe in April. So anybody
Oh,
there
wow.
want to participate? It'll be great. So,
Cool. And Omar, I have this thing called Kudos Kings Club. Okay. Not everybody knows what Kudos Kings Club is. I mentioned earlier about my website, and my website mentions a bit about Kudos Kings Club. Kudos Kings Club, I will basically explain what it is. Originally, I saw a video on YouTube of some interviews that were being done in London, and they were asking people, what is the value of a man and what is the value of a woman. And the value of a woman came across as being wonderful and enigmatic and fantastic, and mothers and wives and real abilities to do everything in the world and do it with such amazing talents. And then they were asking the same people, what do you think the value of a man is? And the same people were saying they shouldn't really exist. They're not really worth much. They're not really good to have around. One person said they should really be buried in the earth. I don't think that's fair. I think that's a bit biased, shall we call it, for want of a better phrase. I think that I have met some absolutely phenomenal men, like I have women, on this platform and in life. And what Kudos Kings Club is a place to support men, because there's a lot of support for women in women's groups. It's not a competition. It's not like some strange misogynistic come along and shake my hand and my foot at the same time sort of thing. It's just an environment that gives us all somewhere to go and somewhere to talk and somewhere to support each other and have friends, because there doesn't seem to be a lot like that for men at the moment. So possibly, if you want to join, there might be scope for doing a bit of a quiz night on that. I put you on the spot.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something very important that I think we should all be involved in. Definitely. I'll look into that for sure.
Wonderful. Okay. We're getting low on time. So if anybody wants to leave, feel free, but in the nicest possible way. I'm not trying to say go away. I'm saying if you need to leave, feel free to. I'm going to get to the next person. Lydia, look at your camera rather than whatever you're doing. Oh, she's not looking at her camera. Evening. How are you?
Hello. Yes, I was just being asked if I was on camera.
Yes, you are.
Well, I don't know. So, hello. Yes, your time change in the UK has thrown me off too. I was on another call, and so all of we in the US had our time change back a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know. We should just have a universal time. A universal time.
Yeah.
Right.
What we should have is a good old time and just fix it as one time for everybody.
Right. We would have to have a united front, and it was time to create the universal time. I was saying this to one of my students earlier today. I was teaching music, and I was teaching a violinist how to play the horn. And the horn, if you know anything about music, is not in the same, they don't think in the same pitch. So if you think about pitches as do, re, mi, fa, the violin thinks in do, and everything is relative to do. The horn thinks of everything in fa, and everything is relative to fa. And so all the music looks like it's here, and all the violin music looks like it's here. And it all goes up relatively. But when the violin plays here, it sounds the same as when the horn's here. Actually reversed, because this horn is a little bit lower. So the horn music has to look like here in order to sound like when the violin is here. Now, there's no reason for this anymore. It's just that the horn didn't used to have all of the valves that it has now. And it just had a certain length of tubing, and we had to do certain odd things to make it go. We still have to do certain odd things to make it go. But, and it's not the only instrument that translates like that, but like, again, you know, there should just be a united front that all of a sudden one day all the horn players in the world should just say, okay, we're going to start teaching all children now to think in the same universal pitch as everyone thinks in. But instead, and we would do that, but everybody keeps thinking in the old pitch because they're afraid they'll get music in the old pitch and need to know how to read the music in the old pitch. So they keep reading the music in the old pitch. So I think our adherence to needing to know things in the old way makes us stick with doing things in the old way in case we have to get caught doing things in the old way. And it's kind of the same thing with the time change. I can't hear you, Matt.
Yeah, I put myself on mute. Sorry. I have no idea what you're talking about with the music stuff. You know that anyway.
I'm trying.
I'm sure everybody else knows, but too much for me. Like world economics, sure. Music, not so much. Sounds good. I have no idea what you're talking about though. But I accept your point that, yeah, we sometimes need to know the old ways as much as the new ways. I told everybody a little bit about your music, but again, I'm not very good about explaining music because it's one of them creativity things, you know. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what you're giving them, really?
Oh, well, I do speak as a creative. What I'm giving everybody, is that what you said, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I have a bunch of things out there in the world, but I have been an improvisationalist for a long time. I have made music. I also am a composer, but there's a lot of music that I've played from my heart, and I created an album of this music from my heart, and I put it out as on SoundCloud, and I put it out on LinkedIn and in other places for people to just download for free, for study, for meditation, for relaxation, for whatever anybody wants to do with it. There are some other artists on there as well that play with me. There's music that is more ethnic in flavor, meditative, dance-like. You'll have to hear it to judge what it is, but I am I'm very happy to just share it for people's healing and studying and whatever anybody wants to do with it. It's my gift.
Now, I said gift, but I'm also, because I've obviously looked at the post and stuff. Now, there is a function for people to donate to you or give you like a little bit of recognition. It's not obligatory, but if they want to contribute or give you something as a thank you, a little tip, whatever that might be, there's a function to do that as well, isn't there?
There is on the SoundCloud site, right up in the right-hand corner, there is a place where you can donate if you are so moved.
Yeah. I probably will, because I'll feel sorry for you, because I don't understand the strange things that you're doing to whatever instrument it is that you're doing it to.
You'll feel sorry for me because you don't.
Well, I feel sorry for the instrument. Did I tell you what I did with my flute? Did I ever tell you that story?
I don't think so.
Familiar? No, okay.
Tell everyone the story.
Confession time, right? So I was down in London this past week, and I did a couple of lives from a Wimpy, which is like a burger restaurant that I used to work at. Right, so my day at school consisted of get up at 5 a.m., go to be a fishmonger at the local like supermarket, Then I would go to school, do a full day at school, including learning to play the flute, which I couldn't learn to do. I just couldn't do it. I just didn't understand. And then I used to finish school and then go and work at this wimpy restaurant, burger restaurant, until 10 in the evening, go home, do it every single day. Now, a flute, we had to carry the flute home and back, and I had to carry it to the fishmonger inn, then to school, then to this place and look after it. And I wasn't getting on with it, to be fair. I just wasn't able to understand how to do it. So I got a little bit frustrated. There's this little canal on the way to school, and I chucked it in the canal on the way to school because I just couldn't play the thing. And I told my mum and dad that I left it on the train. So, yeah.
Wow.
Everybody thinks I'm a nice guy. I'm not really. I'm just shocking. Sorry to the world. But anyway, moving on. We have another guest to join.
Some mermaid
coming up.
Some mermaid, Matt, has that flute now.
Oh, really? I'd like it back.
Some
It's probably
merfolk.
worth money. Who should we get on next? Aaron. Hello, brother. How you doing? You're on mute.
There we go. How you doing, mate?
I'm not too bad. How are you?
Doing fantastic. I got in just from work and got right on board.
Good man. How is life treating you? Are you happy as ever?
Oh, lots of good things coming this way, and I'm not looking a gift horse in the mouth.
There's a slight phrase that I know about that. Anyway, you, my friend, are full of life and happiness and trying to encourage people every which way that I know, including me. And I am very, very grateful for you. You, again, are one of those superstars who turns up all the time. And you and I still have not talked as well. In fact, in this room, there is only Amber and Lydia that I've actually talked to, and yet everybody else has turned up to come along and say hello and have a chat and listen to me waffle on about some nonsense, whatever it is that I'm talking about this week. And I really appreciate that as much as I appreciate Lydia and Amber, but I really appreciate that because it's like you have no idea what exactly I am doing other than I show up and people say, yeah, this guy's a nice guy. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, Matt, you got to give yourself more credit than that, my friend. You are doing amazing things out on the LinkedIn platform right now.
Okay, I'm going to mute you in a second.
Even though I may not be present and you may not see me, I'm actually there quite a bit more than you think. I've been watching a lot of your shows and I have been keeping up. You know as well as I do that with the demand right now, yeah, you know what? If I get some time to spend with you, then I am there wholeheartedly and without question. But you know what? I know a lot more about you than you think. And I've been seeing... Sorry, hold on one second.
Yeah, no problem.
That's some background noise. You've been doing such great work in spreading your light and spreading your joy and spreading awareness back out into the world about sharing that light, making it move, making it transform. So you know what, my friend, you are doing absolutely epic out there. And
Okay. I'm going to mute you if you carry on. Let's not go down that line. Let's talk about you for a second. So I know a bit about you. You know a bit about me, but maybe not everybody knows about you here. So why don't you tell them about you?
Oh, me. Well, my name's Aaron Gibson. I am the creator of Just Off the Cuff HVAC. I'm a heavy content creator here on LinkedIn. I'm a remote producer for a global award-winning show called Voice Your Vibe. I'm a creator of a group on LinkedIn right now that's called Reach Out Religion, which we're renaming into Reach Out Reflection. It is a group that encourages reaching out, and there's no shame in reaching out. And I might have a little bit of extra coming up about the 12th of April that I will talk to you privately about. But other than that, I've been an RNC technician for the last 23 years. And a lot of my major push is being a skilled trade worker that is stepping up and creating more awareness into the mental health avenue of our world. Mental health has just been passed to the wayside, and so one of my major contributions to LinkedIn is my mental health breaks, which is just simply a moment to create a moment for you to take a break, give your mind a rest, as well as while taking that physical rest, to just basically escape from your current reality. Allow yourself to basically recover during that time and then come back full force.
Yeah. I will wholeheartedly back everything that you are doing there, because for me, and I mentioned Kudos Kings Club before, like for me, the point is that the world is becoming more and more difficult for us all to get through. Life is more difficult now than it ever was. I can't talk about very, very long ago. I'm not quite that old, maybe. But I think life has become a lot more difficult to deal with. Yeah, challenging for men and for women, for adults and for children. And I'm very concerned about the future. I'm doing what I can to help people. I'm not any sort of mental health person. There are many people who are, and I fully back those people. You know, Melanie Costas. I try and work with her as much as possible because she can make a difference here in the UK. But yeah, I think anybody who can help anybody with some sort of just support, or trying to put a smile on people's faces, or just being there, or just giving them somewhere to talk to somebody else, connecting them to somebody who can help them with something. We just need to try and support each other and be about benefit for each other, not just what benefits us or the people at the top. So yeah, I'm fully behind what you're doing, my friend. And the same with so many other people. It's just phenomenal that there's so much support out there, and we just need to keep stepping that up as much as we can to fill the void whilst these difficult times are ahead. So yeah, and I celebrate like literally everybody for everything that they are doing. On that subject, I am going to introduce the last person. She's a wonderful lady. I think, Aaron, you might know her. I don't know about anybody else. I was speaking to a friend of hers today called Patsy, who told me that I should definitely stick with this lady because she is a phenomenal woman and very amazing. I give you the wonderful Pauline. Hi, Pauline.
Hi there. What a wonderful thing to say about me. This is
just honesty.
Well, it's lovely. I think it's lovely that we both know Patsy, and it's not unusual that I meet people who know people and then a totally different part of the world. And I think that's what makes me optimistic in a world, as you say, which is crashing around our feet. We got to raise our vibration up and keep ourselves optimistic. And in fact, Patsy, you were talking about, as you know her, she has the most amazing laugh. I laugh, we all laugh, but Patsy has one of those, I can't even do it. It's wonderfully hysterical, but very embracing. When you're with her, you can't help but laugh. It's absolutely superb.
She is one of the true legends that I've known for a while. I don't talk to her enough because she's very busy, and obviously the time difference and things like that. Yeah. Although that's a questionable thing today. Let's not mention any more about time. But she is one of those people who has a heart of gold and comes across as just the simplest person. And then you get to talk to her and you realize that she's like a mountain of a mountain of what am I trying to say? Iceberg. And really, it's not just what you can see on top once that you get to know her, but there is a whole everything else underneath. Like, it's just unbelievable what the lady is doing, I think.
Well, what you're doing as well, and what everybody in here, I'm fascinated by people, and I think there's always fascinating things that we have to share with each other. And it's all about how we share it. You know, that's my passion, is authentic harmony is how do we create what I call magical conversations where people feel inspired to share just because you create the space. And so there's this lovely ebb and flow in the conversation. And the key is being interested and interesting.
I don't know. I need to work on those. And you know Jason now as well. And do you know that Jason knows Patsy?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. So why don't you tell people just a little bit?
I'm sorry, I missed. Where is Jason? I thought he was supposed to be here. I thought that.
That's my bad. That was it was supposed to be at a different time. It's now an hour earlier than what it was supposed to be. So he's got clients or work or something like that. So my bad.
Okay.
Let's not dwell on that because I feel shockingly bad about it.
No, no dwelling, just a question.
Okay. Moving
Blameless
on.
discernment.
No, we said no dwelling on it. Pauline, tell them a little bit about what you do, please.
What do? I help people to understand themselves with regards to their gender dynamics intelligence. So this is a way of looking at ourselves as men and women of different nations and cultures. But the thing is, how do we get to the table and talk to each other in ways that bring about magical outcomes? So there are two parts to it. I help people to know more about themselves, and then I help them to understand people who are not like them, so they don't get into arguments, but they get into what I would call joint creation. You know, that there is so much that we're not using, which is natural and born with us. If we just use our imagination, we could change the whole of the education system. We could change everything in our world. So that's what I do. And my company is called Corporate Hearts International. And my passion is there should be a heart center in every business. So even if it's a huge corporate or it's a tiny business or one person, that we do lead with our heart center and we create relationships with everybody, potentially even with people we don't really like, but we can still relate to them and create something with them. I'm not saying that every single person in the world has to be at your table, but the ones that are attracted to your energy, and that's what you're doing, Matt, you're attracting people to your energy, and that's why we're here. And this happens all over the world. I mean, it's fantastic that we're here, but, you know, I'm a mathematician, a statistician. This is happening a million times around the world in places speaking multiple languages. And that's what is so wonderful about the medium of being online together. So I run wisdom circles around the world, and I work with corporates and businesses to help them create magic and have a healthy life together. So that's what I do. And I am British, but I'm living in Las Vegas. Just make sure. I come from London, but I live in Las Vegas, so I'm always aware of time zones.
Glad somebody is,
Maybe you
because
could
I've
give
got
me
no
a
idea.
lesson.
Well, I wish they would change the clocks at the same time. The last 2 weeks, and then going back into a different time zone has been so annoying.
We could all work together and it would just make life a bit easier. I think that's generally the cause of concern with a lot of people, is if we just made a little bit of effort just to get along a little bit better, give everybody just a little bit more, put time in alignment just a little bit, so, and we're not all completely confused for 2 weeks of our lives, making horrible messes and apologies left, right and center. It'd save us all a lot of time and we could get a little bit more done. I think that'd work. But
absolutely.
What do I know? Nicely brought about back to Keith. That was our first guest on, because Keith is all about positivity and thinking about how to be together and providing leadership that is encouraging and supportive. I would just like to say, because time is well and truly over, even by my standards, It has been a pleasure to have everybody along this evening. There's been a lot of people who've not been able to make it, mainly because of my mess up with the time. So I apologize to those people because it is very inconvenient, I know. Sadly, I'm just a silly Englishman that likes to put his hands up when he wants to talk. Thank you very much, everybody, for turning up. It has been a pleasure, as always. I look forward to seeing you all very soon. To you and to everybody in the audience, thank you very much. And remember, you are the miracle. Take care.
Good to see you, everyone.
Bye.